Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Rick Harrison with MVP Realty down here in Southwest Florida. Today, I'm going to be doing the Southwest Florida housing market update for 10/25/21. And on today's agenda, I'm going to be going over the inventory and market stats so you know exactly what's going on in the market and the conditions. Talking about the rising interest rates, which is a huge thing that's going on right now. Also going to be doing some top housing market news analysis, just some things that are going on in the news that could have an effect on the markets in the future, in the very near future. And then also some things to do around the area that I've experienced over the last month or two. So that's coming right up after this. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Rick Harrison with MVP Realty. Like I said, we're going to be talking about an analysis of the market that we're currently seeing right now. As you can see on the screen, I have an agenda set up here for our update this week. Inventory and market stats, rising interest rates, something that's going on and it's going to be a future very soon. The Fed made some announcements recently and is, potentially looking to raise those rates pretty soon. Top housing and market news analysis, and then also some things that you can do in the area. So let's dive right on in. So the inventory analysis. Over on the left here, we have new listings versus closed sales. So as you can see over here with the new listings, this is going back to just January of 2021. These little tick marks on the bottom here are 1 year markers. So as you can see, obviously 2021, we were already down from previous years as far as inventory. But as you can see right at the end here, which is where we're at now, the new listings that are coming on the market still very low and continuing to decrease, which means, unfortunately, prices are going to be staying the same, at least for the foreseeable future, unless something changes, which we'll talk about in a little bit. On the other side, you have the closed sales, which, as you can see, there were more and more sales all the way into 2021. And now you are starting to see that the amount of closed sales is starting to dwindle. Part of that is because of, as you can see, the low inventory. But as we go through the next couple stats, you're going to see that if you're not already hearing about it, the market has started to level off. So that's going to have an effect on what's available and how many closed sales we can have. Next up, homes for sale versus pending sales. So this is a pretty good indicator as far as what the market conditions are currently. Homes for sale, as you can see, it's decreased. You already know that the inventory is not out there. There's not a ton of homes on the market. But as you can see, that sharp curve is the inventory has just been falling off even more. And then pending sales, we saw a peak right here towards the first quarter of 2021. And then it just fell off. So the amount of pending sales due to inventory has slowed, but you are starting to see more go off. Now, there's a couple things that could be going on with as far as buyers. One, buyers are making a rush to close to get a house, whether that's for investors or for people who are looking for their primary home. And part of that could be indicative of a lot of people are nervous about what the economy has in store in the future. There's been chatter about interest rates starting to go up. They've been fluctuating for the last several months, back and forth around 3%. We're going to go over that in just a minute as well. So this is directly from the MLS. And then the last really stats that we want to look at is the median price. As you can see, the median price for homes just in all of Southwest Florida, it's hit a peak right here about a month or two ago, but you can start to see that curve is starting to go the other way, which means the median prices, people are starting to, we're hitting the top part of the market for the median price. It's just the prices have gotten out of control to the point where buyers are now starting to pull back, say, look, I'm not overpaying for this house by that much. I'd rather wait to see what's going to change versus getting into a bidding war with other people. So a lot of buyers are saying, look, let's just wait. Let's just see what happens if we got to rent, which is also driving up rent prices. But that little marker right there shows you that we've kind of hit a peak and we're now starting to level off. So it almost looks like it's going the other way, but it's way too early to decide if it is. But it has leveled off, and the days on the market is showing the same thing. As you can see, as the years have gone on, the days on the market is at an all-time low, but it hit that low, and now you can see it's starting to wane back and forth a little. If it's going up the other way, that means that buyers have really pulled back, and they'd rather wait and let things sit on the market, which is going to force these two graphs interchange each other. You can't keep raising the prices if people are starting to pull back and the houses are sitting on the market longer. At the same time, if the houses are sitting on the market longer, there's going to be less inventory as well. People are nervous about if it's going to sell or not. So all of that is showing really that we've kind of hit a level off period in the market. So for those of you buyers who are out there, if you're considering buying, now might be a really good time. And the reason I say that, even though the prices are high, the interest rates are still low, and you're starting to see the market level off, which means people are understanding like we can't just raise the price to whatever we want. The price is really indicative of what the buyers are willing to pay for it. So what is the fair market value? It's whatever the buyers really determine that fair market price is. You can list it at whatever price you want, but just realize, obviously the market is going to dictate what you can sell it for, because it's up to buyer demand and whether you can find a buyer for it at that price. Interest rates. So this is on bankrate.com. You can check it up every week or so. They update the interest rates. This is on 1020. These are the interest rates. As you can see, the 30-year fixed has kind of been staying right around the 3% range. These are averages across markets. 15-year is still around 2.46, 10-year 2.42, and the 5 and 1 arm is at 2.8. So while these are still very low, just something to be aware of, and we're going to talk about that, in just a minute. With the interest rates, as you can see down here at the bottom, this is back in June. They've been right around 3.1 for the 30-year fixed. So we're just going to use that as our basis, right? 3.1 for the 30-year fixed. And then as you go, you can see that it went down to 3.04, 3.06. It went back up. And now we're starting to creep up a little bit. So now we're going the other way. Instead of hitting that low, we're starting to see the 3.2s. Something that's been in the news recently, actually all these things are what's going on in the market currently, the news, the trends, what's hot. So foreign buyers are, for those of us living in Southwest Florida, we know season comes around every year, somewhere, around the holidays it starts, and then it goes into April, May, sometimes even June. We're starting to see foreign buyers because of COVID. They've kept the foreign buyers and even the sellers at bay. Sellers have really been selling just to take advantage of the market, but the foreign buyers haven't been able to get over here to really, do a ton of buying and see what they're buying and understand what they're paying for those prices. They're going to be returning. So whatever buyer demand is already out there and little inventory, there's going to be probably another rush coming in the future, in the near future, for buyers who are looking to invest in this area, because there are so many people moving from the northern states, even the other coast. Also, something that was notable in the recent realtors reports, Zillow stopped their iBuyer program. So for those of you who don't know what an iBuyer program is, Zillow is obviously a huge company. They are now a legitimate brokerage. So with that, they began buying up a lot of properties, especially down in the investable areas, or the people where people are starting to move to. They've bought a ton of houses, and they've really been, they haven't been buying them at ridiculously low prices. They've been buying them, I'd say, at fair market, but they stopped their programs. They're no longer buying. So that's just something to keep in the back of your mind. I don't know what they know, or what data they have. I'm a good amount of data, but if Zillow is stopping their iBuyer program, why are they stopping it? Just something to think about. Do they feel like the market's starting to shift? Do they feel like they're starting to overpay, or they have too much? They're overpaying for the properties potentially because they thought that this was going to keep going up. That's just something to think about. For those of you who haven't heard, vacant lot fraud, especially in like areas, actually most especially in Cape Coral, But other areas that have a lot of vacant land could be Lehigh Acres, could be outside of Cape Coral, could be different parts of Naples. There has been a lot of vacant lot fraud. People are calling agents from overseas in countries like Africa or different countries like that, and are asking agents to list their property. They're sending them fake passports. They're sending them, fraudulent information that they are the owners. They make it look like they are the owners in the, from the tax assessor's office, and they are scamming people. The agents, do their best to do their due diligence. And then they also have different things in place for fraud through the title companies. But that is something that has been going on, and it's been in the news. If you haven't heard, if you're an owner who owns land, vacant land, I would highly recommend going to check that out. Make sure your property hasn't been sold, right? And if it has, then do right away report it to the Lee County Sheriff's Office and things like that. Leveling off of markets. So I just showed you the stats on that, but the big thing was the Federal Reserve announced that, well, they actually announced it about a month ago that they were going to be reconvening in November, which is just coming up in the next week or two, to talk about and look at, what does their timeline look like for raising interest rates. So as early as November, we could start to see interest rates start to increase. So that could have a huge effect on the affordability and the buying power of anybody who was buying. If you've been holding off, that's going to be a big impact. If it goes up, a couple points or percentages, you're not going to be able to afford what you thought you were going to be able to afford currently, or even just the last couple months. So just keep that in mind as buyers. Also, the moratorium lift, who was on hold for either their mortgage payments or for rent, that moratorium has been lifted. There are still programs out there for those who are, struggling to make their mortgage payments or rent payments. There are still programs. The banks are trying to work with people. As far as the rent side, I'm not exactly 100% sure what is in place to help tenants, but that has been lifted. So we're going to be seeing over the next few months, what that effect has on foreclosures and short sales, things like that. There were reportedly 1.6 million people who were at least 90 days behind on their mortgage payments. That doesn't mean that they didn't have the money to pay it. They were just, just stashing the cash just in case something happened. And now that it has been lifted, they are in repayment programs of some sort. But I am hearing that there will be, a decent amount of foreclosures and short sales probably coming on the market in the very near future, as things start to get back to a little bit normal real estate market. So that's how it could affect the market. What can happen? Nobody has a crystal ball. Nobody really knows for sure, but those are things that could happen. And then as far as the things to just to do in the area, one thing, anybody who's, in the Fort Myers, Cape Coral area, one of the things that I've done over the last month or so that was really fun and interesting to do was go to Tiger Woods Pop Stroke Golf, which is right here in Fort Myers, actually, just a 5 to 10 minute drive away from me. Really cool. If you like mini golf, I wouldn't say it's the hardest mini golf course. Even the hardest course, I don't think was super hard. But it's a really cool atmosphere. It's something to check out. Definitely check out because it's got its own like unique culture and vibe there. Part of it's part of it's a bar and restaurant. Part of it is it's an ice cream and food shop, and then they have an entire area that's dedicated to just playing games. Like they have cornhole games set up, different things like that. You can play right on their little court out there by the restaurant. And then in the back, they have two different courses, one for beginners and one for more advanced players. But it's a really cool time. It's set up like its own little mini course with sand traps and things like that. Definitely something I'd recommend checking out on the weekend. And it's actually really reasonably priced. So we found it really fun and enjoyable. But if you're in the area, check that out. It's right off of Daniels in Fort Myers over by the Walmart and Home Depot. Definitely something to check out. But That's all I got for you guys this week. I hope you tune in next week. I will be doing the Monday market updates now in this format, so you know exactly what's coming on if it's something you want to watch. But if you do need any more information on the market or have questions about, is now a good time to buy or sell, I have those answers for you. Feel free to reach out to me. You can reach out to me on my social media, or you can give me a call, shoot me a text. My number is 239-310-5478. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week.